firefighter killed while battling California wildfire is laid to rest. Hundreds packed the funeral for a firefighter who died when he was hit by a falling tree while battling the massive Californian wildfire. Battalion Chief Matthew Burchett died on August 13 at the Mendocino Complex Fire 150 north of San Francisco, the biggest the state has ever seen. The 42-year-old was laid to rest in his hometown of Salt Lake City on Monday as his son Griffin, 7, carried his father's helmet under his arm. Friends and family said Chief Burchett thrived when he was sleeping on the ground, eating rations, and working to protect people. A firefighter since his high school graduation, he was described as a sharp, hard-working leader with a well-known grin and unassuming manner. His brother and fellow firefighter at the Draper Fire Department, Dominic Burchett, said he died a hero doing what he loved. He had an uncanny ability to weasel his way into extra work where the action was, his brother said with a smile. Chief Burchett was first given a funeral service at the Maverick Center where his coffin was carried in by his comrades in dress uniform. The uniform and equipment he used when he died was placed next to his casket during the service and two firefighters stood to attention in front of it holding ceremonial axes. His coffin was then driven by hearse and fire engine to East Lawn Memorial Hills Cemetery in Provo, Utah, where he was buried with an honor guard of fellow firefighters. Chief Burchett died when a modified airliner dropped thousands of gallons of flame-suppressing liquid into the area in which he was battling the blaze. The two-paragraph investigative summary of an investigation into his death calls for immediate changes, saying firefighters must keep out of areas with overhead hazards when planes are dropping flame retardant. California's firefighting agency said firefighters already are trained to do that and could not say what went wrong, citing an ongoing investigation. Burchett was one of Utah's most knowledgeable wildland firefighters and was careful about his surroundings, said Ryan Love, a spokesman for the Unified Fire Authority that covers most Salt Lake City suburbs. This was not a lack of knowledge by any means, Love said. It sounds like a pure accident. Cliff Allen, president of the union representing California's wildland firefighters, said fire supervisors should have made sure firefighters were well clear of the drop zone or that their positions were clearly marked for the pilot of the modified airliner dropping the liquid, in this case, either a modified DC-10 or a 747, and for the pilot of the planes that guide the huge aircraft. There could have been a radio miscommunication or the crew may not have heard or chose to ignore the radio warning, he said. Allen cautioned that it's not clear from the preliminary report whether the tree was weakened from the fire or from the drop or if the firefighters were hit by fire retardant slurry, which is a mixture of water, fertilizer and red dye. Anytime you are working in trees, you have trees that are fire weakened, then strong winds or water or retardant drops could potentially cause them to fall and possibly injure folks, Allen said. It's often referred to as widow makers. He and other state fire spokesmen did not disclose the type of aircraft was involved in Burchett's death. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection at times uses modified DC-10s that can drop 12,000 gallons of slurry, 12 times the amount carried by its standard smaller air tanker. It can lay a swath of fire retardant as wide as a football field for as long as a mile. Cal Fire says the modified 747 can drop 24,000 gallons, double that of the DC-10. It uses a system that can release the slurry under pressure or as gently as falling rain from an altitude as low as 400 feet. Firefighters who can't get out of the way are trained to lie face down toward the oncoming aircraft, helmet on, chin strap secured, one hand holding the top of the helmet as it takes the brunt of the impact. Cal Fire spokesman Scott McLean said. The firefighter's legs should be spread to provide stability, because the force of the falling slurry and the air turbulence can otherwise lift a firefighter off the ground. If you're in that particular area and you can't leave, you want to get to a safe position, McLean said.